Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Contents of our today's lecture are: today we will discuss differential protection of three-phase transformer, that include three-phase two-winding transformer and three-phase multi-winding transformer, as well as regulating transformers. Then we discuss volt per hertz protection of power transformers, and then we discuss non-electrical protection that is applied to the transformer, which includes pressure devices. There are further two types of pressure devices that we discuss today: Buchholz relay and sudden pressure relay, also known as SPR. Other non-electrical protection that we apply to the transformer is temperature relay or temperature devices. So these are the contents of our today's lecture. Now, expected outcomes. At the end of the lecture, students will learn about the protection of three-phase transformers, protection of three-phase multi-winding transformers. Student will be able to learn about the volt per hertz protection of transformers, and student will be able to learn about non-electrical protection devices for the protection of power transformers. Here we start our discussion regarding challenges that we will have to tackle in three-phase power transformers. So power transformation in three-phase system can be done by two means: either by using three single-phase transformers or by using single three-phase transformer. So there is a difference in these two schemes. If the amount of power that we want to transfer from one voltage level to other voltage level, and that is normally the case in extra high voltage system, instead of building a very large single three-phase transformer, it is much economical and feasible to build three single-phase transformer. So those three single-phase transformer, their winding will be connected in Y and delta according to requirement, and that will be used for transformation of power from one voltage to the other. So the other mean to transfer the three-phase power from one voltage level to the other voltage level is by using a single three-phase transformer. Remember, if we are using three single-phase transformers, then the protection is simple, and as we have discussed in our previous lecture, the protection of a single-phase transformer. But once we are using a single three-phase transformer and one of the two winding is connected in delta configuration, that is actually a challenging situation, because now two side currents not only have a magnitude difference but also has a phase difference. So due to this additional phase difference, we will have to undo this phase difference in order to apply differential protection or percentage differential protection to the transformer. So the major difference between three-phase transformer protection and that of three single-phase transformer is effect of Y-delta transformation. Line currents on the Y and delta side of a three-phase transformer are out of phase by 30 degree. So this problem is resolved by connecting CTs in such a manner that it will undo the effect of Y-delta phase shift produced by this Y-delta transformer. So this is how we undo the phase shift produced by the delta Y transformer. The procedure is, the CTs on Y side of power transformers are connected in delta, and CTs on the delta side of power transformers are connected in Y. So in this way, the phase shift introduced by the delta connected winding of main power transformer can be undone by connecting CT secondaries in delta configuration. Here in this diagram, we will see how this phase shift will be undone by using a delta Y CT connections. Look here, this is a delta connected winding of the power transformer, this one, and here we have Y connected winding of power transformer. So now if we look at the sense of the delta, this is a leading delta. How we have recognized this delta as leading delta? Look at this node. The current which is entering into this node, that is difference of this first phase and the second phase, because second phase current will be like this. So it means we are subtracting a lagging current from the leading, so that will result in a line current which is leading by 30 degree. So due to this reason, this delta is a leading delta, means the line current will lead the corresponding phase current by 30 degree and will also have a magnitude difference by a factor of under root 3. So what does it mean having a delta in leading configuration? It means the current that I have shown here in red color on delta side, this line current will lead corresponding line current on the Y side. These two currents has a phase difference, and here this one which I am making a bit bold is a leading current with respect to the other. If we assume that this current which is leading has angle 0, then the corresponding current on Y side will have an angle minus 30 degree. And if we take the Y side current as a reference and assign an angle 0 to that, then this current on delta side will become or will have an angle of 30 degree. It is leading current. So now how we have undone this effect of phase shift between two sides? Look here. On the Y side of power transformer, CT secondaries have been connected in delta, and on delta side of power transformer, CT secondaries have been connected in Y. Again the thumb rule, the CTs on both sides must have their dotted end either towards the winding or away from the winding. In our case here the dot connection of CTs are away from the winding. And then how to do the connection from two sides? Connection can be done either by connecting the dotted end with the dotted end or non-dotted end with the non-dotted end. In this particular example, what we have done here, where CTs are connected in Y configuration, we have made a star point on the dotted end of the CT secondaries. Due to this reason, now we are going to make the connection of non-dotted ends of the CT secondary on the other end with here this winding. So it means now we will have to connect these CT secondaries in leading configuration with respect to non-dotted end. The configuration of these CT secondaries must be same as the configuration of the main delta winding. If main delta winding is leading, these CT secondary should also be in leading configuration. If main delta winding is in lagging configuration, then these heating should also be in lagging configuration. Now question is whether this leading or lagging should be with respect to dotted end and non-dotted end. This is our choice. If we want to make the connection of two sides with respect to the dotted end, this leading and lagging should be according to a dotted end. And if we are going to connect two side CTs with non-dotted end, this leading and lagging concept of delta should be with respect to non-dotted end. But here in this example taken from the textbook, author has selected to connect the non-dotted end of the CT secondary to make the connection on the other side. So that's why we will have to use non-dotted end of CT secondaries to make a leading delta. How it is leading delta with respect to non-dotted end? Look at this node over here. You can see clearly at this node the current which is coming out of the delta is difference of this leading current here, this one, and this lagging current. So we are subtracting lagging current which is flowing in this direction from the leading current. So that's why this current which is coming out of CT secondaries will be leading corresponding phase current. Now this is how the CT secondaries will be connected in order to undone the phase shift on two sides. Now next task is the CT ratio. How to select the CT ratio so that the magnitude is also same on two sides. Magnitude of current here which is flowing towards the differential relay and which is flowing away from the differential relay. These two currents should be equal in magnitude as well as in phase with each other. Only then we will get a zero current ideally, or very small current practically here through this differential branch during the normal condition. Once fault will occur, definitely we have much larger differential current as compared to the retaining coil current. Now let's solve this example after discussing this connection, because question may be asked in exam. Draw the cities connection on two sides of power transformers for a delta Y transformer. So you will have to draw this diagram properly. If you have drawn this diagram and forgot to mention the city polarity markings, you will get absolutely no credit, because this diagram is meaningless without the polarity markings of city. It is given that this power transformer, which we are going to protect with the help of percentage differential relay, is rated at 500 MVA. Further, it is given that this delta side of power transformer is rated at 34.5 kilovolt. This is the low voltage side, and high voltage side is rated at 500 kilovolt. So this is high voltage side. Now in order to find out the CT ratio, first we will have to calculate the line currents. For our example, we have assumed that current here in these lines, these three currents, these are our reference current. We will assume angle associated with this current equal to 0, and then assign angle to all other currents with respect to this reference. Here the current on the Y side of main transformer, the second subscript P stand for, it is on the primary side of CTs. That has been calculated by using the power rating and the voltage level. 500 into 1000 divided by under root 3 into 500. So this current is 577.35 ampere. And if we mark this current on all the three phases, here is the three currents. There is angle 0 with this one, angle minus 120 degree. We can write this current as well here, 577.35 with an angle of minus 120 degree. Similarly, here we can label this current as 577.35 angle 120 degree. This is leading with respect to the first phase and lagging behind the second phase. Because when this question will be asked in exam, you people will be asked to properly label the diagram. In that condition, you will have to mention the current and their phase angle in all the three phases. In order to save the time, just calculate the magnitude and then assign proper angles with the current. So here in phase A we have current with angle 0, in phase B current with angle minus 120, in phase C current with angle 120 degree. Now in the same way we do the calculation on delta side. So delta side primary current means current on the primary side of power transformer. That would be 500 into 1000 divided by root 3 into voltage level 34.5. Once calculated, this current is 8376.39 ampere. So now we are going to label this current here. Now you can see the current which will be labelable here will be 8367.39 with angle 30 degree, because this is leading. I have taken this example from the textbook, and the author of this textbook has labeled these current in rectangular form by mentioning its real part and imaginary part. That will become too tedious for you people to label the current in that manner in exam. So much better way is to write in polar form, the magnitude into angle. The second phase here current will be 8367.39, angle will be minus 90 degree. That would be calculated either subtracting minus 120 from 30, or we can have addition of 30 degree into this current angle, this one, the phase B on Y side. In the same way you can label the third phase current. Now once we have calculated the line currents on delta side and Y side of main power transformer, at this stage we will start selecting the CT ratio. CT ratio will be selected from the side where we have connected CTs in Y. So CTs are connected in Y configuration on the delta side of main transformer. So it means this is this side where we have just calculated the current, where we will assign the CT. So CT assignment is very simple. We want a current less than 5 ampere at this rated current. So rated current of that winding is 8367.39. Just higher standard CT ratio will be 9000 to 5. So this is the CT that we have selected. Now once CT has been selected, let's see what will be the current on the secondary side of these three CTs. Here on delta side, secondary current will be 4.65 ampere. If we label this current here in all the three phases, this will be 4.65 ampere. Remember, current on the primary side and the secondary side of these CTs will be in phase. There will be only a magnitude difference. How we had calculated secondary current? By dividing the primary current with CT ratio. CT ratio is 9000 over 5. Now, once we have calculated the CT secondary current, we know that in order to implement differential protection for a transformer, we need these two currents to be equal. Current which is here flowing towards the delta side of main transformer, and here that is flowing from the Y side of main transformer. These two current must be equal. And we have already calculated that this current is 4.65 ampere. It means now CT ratio over here on the Y side of main transformer should be in such a way that we must have a 4.65 ampere current coming from this side. This is an ideal condition that we will try to fulfill. So this is the requirement. Current on the secondary side of Y side of main power transformer should be equal to the delta secondary current, that is 4.65. Here I have used an additional superscript prime to make a discrimination between two CT secondary current, because CTs are connected in delta configuration. One will be the CT current within the delta and other is CT current coming out of the delta. So current which is coming out of the delta has an additional superscript of prime, and current that is available on the secondary side of CT will be without prime. To just make these two current different, I have put an extra superscript. So now we are going to satisfy this condition. Look at this current 4.65 ampere. This is coming out of the delta. So what should be the current here inside the delta that will give us this amount 4.65 ampere in the line? We know that the line current is under root 3 times greater than the corresponding phase current and has a phase difference, and we are not talking about the phase difference right now. Reason, because the CT secondaries have been connected in such a way that it will undone the phase difference introduced by the main transformer delta winding. Now in order to get 4.65 ampere in the line, this should be the current on the secondary side of the CT. Now this current IYS is available at the secondary side of the CT here, this one, and according to the delta characteristics, this current will be equal to 4.65 over under root 3, that is equal to 2.68 ampere. Now here I am explaining this thing. If somehow by using a CT ratio we get a CT secondary current of 2.68 ampere over here, that current when come out of the delta will become 4.65 ampere, which is exactly equal to that current which we have translated by using this CT of 9000 to 5 on the delta side of main transformer. Now in order to get 2.68 ampere on the CT secondary side, what should be the CT ratio if primary current is already given to us 577.35? Here CT ratio will be 577.35 over 2.68, so that is 215.43 by 1. So that is the CT required. So it means if secondary has a rating of 1 ampere, primary should have rating of 215.43. But according to American standard, CT has secondary rated at 5 ampere. So due to this reason, multiply the numerator and denominator with 5. This is the required CT. 1077 by 5. This CT must be used. But another hurdle here, we can select the CT ratio only from available standard CT ratios. So the standard CT ratio which will sandwich this required value are 1000 by 5 and 1100 by 5. Although by all means 1100 by 5 is the better choice as compared to 1000 into 5, but I have taken this example from the textbook and author of the textbook have selected 1000 into 5 as the required CT ratio. So that's why I have made this choice, but remember 1100 by 5 will be a better choice. Okay, always go for better choice in exam. In next example I have selected 1100 by 5 for the next example, but for this I have taken the value given as it is. So 1000 into 5 is the CT ratio that we have selected here for this CT. So CT selection will be done in this manner. Now as our CT which would be required in order to perfectly match these two current 4.65 here 4.65 here, that was the value 1077 by 5. This should be the CT ratio, but we have selected a CT from the standard CT ratios having ratio 1000 by 5. So now definitely current here that we get over here will be different from the current here which is 4.65. Now we are going to calculate that new current and the spill current. Spill current means current through differential branch which is spilling due to the difference on two sides of the current. That will be a difference current. Here is the labeling of that current corresponding to CT ratio. CT secondary current will be 2.886, and then the current which will come out of the delta connected CT secondaries will be 5 ampere. How I had calculated 577.35 divided by the CT ratio, this will give us this current which has been mentioned in the diagram 2.886. When multiplied with under root 3, that will become the line current which is 5 ampere. So it means now here 5 ampere current is coming from this side and 4.65 ampere current is flowing onward. It means the rest of the current will take this path downward through the differential branch, and that difference is obvious, that is 0.35 ampere. So that is sufficiently high current for overcurrent differential, because overcurrent differential has very simple setting, just minimum pickup setting. But remember the percentage differential, they can take care of this difference current. So now here is the current coming from the delta connected CT secondaries, and the current which will flow through the differential branch is 0.35 with appropriate angles. Remember in exam you will have to mention angle with all the currents. These two currents 5 ampere and 4.65 ampere although have different magnitude and difference is 0.35 ampere, but their phase angle is exactly same. Both are perfectly in phase with each other. Now after that we will discuss the protection of multi-winding three-phase transformer. Previous example was a two-winding three-phase transformer. Now we will discuss an example of multi-winding three-phase transformer having more than two windings. Normally it has three windings. So in three-phase multi-winding transformer, the CT must be connected in Y on delta side of the power transformer and in delta on Y side of the power transformer. So this will ensure that Y delta phase shifts are compensated by CTs. Here is an example of a multi-winding three-phase transformer. Only three windings have been shown over here, A, B, C. So don't get confused. These are not the three phases A, B, C. No, these are the three complete three-phase windings. A is three-phase winding, B is also a three-phase winding, C is also a three-phase winding. A winding connected in delta, B side winding is connected in Y. Same is the case with the C side winding, which is also connected in Y. The CT ratios are chosen so that when only two windings are in service, equal secondary currents are produced. The connection will be on delta side, CT secondaries are connected in Y. On Y side of main transformer, CT secondaries are connected in delta. In this manner, phase shift will be undone or nullified. Next is the CT ratio. CT ratios are selected in such a way that if only two windings are in service, even then the differential protection must work well. So that can be done by assuming one winding out of service and then calculating all the CT ratios by using the same procedure that we have just followed in previous example. Once the calculation is done, then take one of the winding out and include the excluded winding. So then perform or repeat the calculation again. Here we'll try to calculate the CT ratios for this example. For this particular transformer, it is given that on winding A side, main winding is delta connected. So winding A is rated at 500 MVA, 34.5 kilovolt, that is the voltage level. Winding B is rated at 300 MVA and 500 kilovolt is its voltage level, and winding C is rated at 200 MVA, 138 kilovolt is the voltage level. So this is the power rating and voltage rating of the windings. Next, winding A is connected in delta. So here CT secondaries must be in Y. Winding B is connected in Y. So CT secondaries here should be in delta, and the sense of this delta must be in such a way that it should be same as over here in winding A. And winding C is also in Y. CT secondary should be in delta. So this is how we have done the CT secondary connection. Next, CT ratios. Look here first, the differential relay that we had used for this multi-winding three-phase transformer. So this is a special differential relay which has three retaining coils. In previous example, we have seen a percentage differential relay that had only two retaining coils. So this particular differential relay had three retaining coils for each phase. So similar three relays will be used because only connection for a single phase have been shown over here. So similarly, we have phase B and phase C. Now in order to perform the CT ratio calculation, first we will assume that one of the three winding is out of service. So that can be done easily by considering that winding C is not present. So this transformer, three-phase multi-winding transformer, is left only with two winding, winding A and winding B. Winding A is rated at 34 kilovolt and winding B is rated at 500 kilovolt, and their power rating is different from each other, 500 MVA and 300 MVA. Now first procedure will be calculate the line currents. Once we had the line current, we select the CT ratios where CTs are connected in Y. Then we calculate the CT secondary current. Then we divide that current by under root 3 to find out the CT secondary current on the side where CT secondaries are in delta, and then that current will be used to find out the ratio. Question is, in order to calculate the line current, whether we are going to use this power 500 MVA or 300 MVA, because both winding has different power. Here this question is to be addressed because this is important. One student may ask that sir, use 500 for winding A and 300 for winding B, which is their own power ratings, and then do the calculation. Remember, in that way our results will be incorrect. Reason, because when there is no third winding C, both winding will carry equal power. So how we can do the calculation based upon the separate power ratings? So next question, next student may ask, sir, then maximum power that these two windings can carry when the winding C is out of service is 300 MVA, because this transformer cannot carry 500 MVA power because winding B could not withstand power more than 300 MVA. Let's do the calculation for 300 MVA. So once we have done the calculation by using 300 MVA here on winding A side and 300 MVA on winding B side, then once all the three winding will be in service, so this winding will carry full 500 MVA power. If we have calculated its line current and selected the CT ratio by assuming that this winding was carrying just 300 MVA, it is quite possible that when it will carry more than 300 MVA up to 500 MVA, CT may carry current greater than its rated value of 5 ampere. So that is a problem again. So the only solution left, we assume that both the windings are carrying 500 MVA just for the purpose of CT ratio selection, because CT ratio selection must be done on a single power. So that is 500 MVA in our selection. I have ruled out other two possibilities one by one. So if we are using 500 for both the winding and do the calculation accordingly, then no matter whether it is carrying 100 MVA, 200 MVA, 300 MVA or any other value, the operation of percentage differential relay will remain balanced in that condition. So now for the purpose of CT ratio selection, we will assume that winding A is carrying 500 MVA power at this voltage 34.5 kilovolt, and winding B is carrying 500 MVA, say 500 MVA. It is just for CT ratio calculation at 500 kilovolt. In this condition, if we look at the configuration of transformer, this is exactly same configuration as we have just discussed in previous example. Two winding transformer where delta was rated at 34.5 kilovolt and Y was rated at 500 kilovolt. Both power ratings for the winding was 500 MVA. So we have already done the CT ratio selection for this configuration, and our results are 9000 by 5 for this CT and 1100 by 5 for this CT. In previous example we have selected 1000 by 5, but I said that 1100 by 5 will be a better choice. So here for this particular example I have selected the other one, 1100 by 5. So it means two side CTs have been decided. Now come to the third winding, winding C. So winding C, CT selection over there, we will have to assume that either winding B or winding A is out of service. So let's make this winding B out of service. So here we are left with a two winding three-phase transformer where we have only two winding A and C. Now again for CT selection, one side CT has already been selected, only the selection of CT over here at winding C is required, that is connected in delta as well. So procedure is, first we calculate the line current on winding C side, that will be equal to the power rating that we will use is again 500 MVA. So current is 2091.85 ampere. This is the line current. Now we had seen that the secondary current over here was 4.65 ampere. Now out of this delta connected CT secondary, we want this current to be 4.65 ampere as well. So the CT ratio will be equal to this current on the primary side of the CT, 2091.85, divided by that current we want on the secondary side of CT. So that current should be 4.65 under root 3. We had calculated this current in previous example, that was 2.68 in the denominator, 2.68 ampere. So this will give us the CT ratio. Here CT ratio that we had calculated is 780.5 by 1. When converted into 5, that would become 3902 divided by 5. This is the CT ratio that we want, and closest standard CT ratio for this value will be here, CT ratio 4000 by 5. So that is the CT ratio that we will use for winding C. Once all the CT ratios has been selected, when this question will be asked, next part of this question will be calculate the difference current. So difference current is a current which will flow here towards this branch. If I assign the polarity marking to these CTs, So here dotted end are away from the transformer on both sides. So if this is the primary winding, current here is into the dotted, so it will be away from the dotted end here. So this retaining coil will carry current in this direction. So retaining coil current will come from other direction here in this manner, and the difference current will flow through the differential branch. Now in order to calculate the secondary currents, we will assume that all these windings are carrying currents according to their power rating. Mean all the three windings are in service and carrying their rated power. So once this winding is carrying 500 MVA, according to this CT ratio, this current which is flowing in the retaining coil will be 4.65 ampere. Now current that is flowing here in this line, when this winding B is carrying full 300 MVA power at this voltage level of 500 kilovolt, and this is a CT ratio, the current which is available will be, first we calculate the line current. Formula is over here. First we will calculate the line current by using this power 300,000 over under root 3 into voltage level, that is the line current, multiplied by the reciprocal of the ratio, CT ratio, that is 5 over 1100. So this is the current available on the secondary side of this CT, but this CT is connected in delta. Current which is coming out of the delta will be multiplied further with under root 3. Once calculated, that is 2.73 ampere. Now current which is flowing in through the second retaining coil when the winding C is carrying power at 200 MVA. A similar formula here will be used. Here we use 200, 138, 4000 according to the configuration at winding side. So this current is 1.81 ampere. Now the difference current ID will be 4.65 minus the sum of these two current 2.73 plus 1.81, that current is 0.11 ampere. So that is positive. It means these two currents are less than this value. So here the difference current will flow here in this direction, in upward direction, 0.11 ampere. So spill current has been calculated. Now here we discuss the differential relay that we had used for this three winding three phase transformer. If the transformer had a source only on one side, mean only one out of those three windings are connected to the source, remaining two are connected with the load. A two winding differential relay can be used to protect a three winding transformer. So means we can use a differential relay which has only two retaining coils that we had used for two winding three phase transformer. The two other winding CTs could be first parallel, and then their parallel combination can be connected to the one of the retaining coil. However, this connection is not recommended when more than one winding has source behind it. This is how we can use a two winding differential relay for a three winding transformer, because we had assumed that source is only behind winding A, winding B and winding C. These are connected to the load only. So we had connected them in parallel, and their combined effect will be passing through this retaining coil. So this is how we can use a two winding differential relay for a three winding transformer. If source is behind more than one winding, means source is behind either two windings or all the three windings, that is part of interconnected system, then this type of connection is not possible. There is a huge problem here. What could be that problem? Let's assume we had source behind these two windings like this. If it is open circuit here at winding A side, only winding B and C are in service, means it is providing to the load like this. So power was flowing from winding B into winding C. Definitely power rating of this transformer in this mod could not be more than 200 MVA. That is the limit bound by the power rating of winding C. So in this condition, if fault occurs outside the zone of protection on winding C side, then this will be the path for the flow of fault current. Heavy fault current will flow from winding B into winding C. So as this current is very high, due to this reason, these two CTs will produce error more than the normal. So that error will be maybe up to 10%, not more than 10%, but that will be sufficiently high error. So that error produced in these two CT will be different from each other. Due to this reason, our net current will flow here downward because their parallel combination is not producing same amount of current. So that net current will flow downward through this retaining coil to the differential coil back over here. This fault was outside the zone of protection, and differential relay must not respond to this fault. But what had happened, due to the error in CT, the net current is passing through one of the retaining coil and through the differential coil, and differential coil current in this situation will become 200% of the retaining coil current, and this relay would trip. So due to this reason, if we have source behind more than one winding, always use 3 retaining winding differential relay, which is designed for 3 winding power transformer. So let's see in that condition how tripping could be avoided. Again, case this winding is open, we had source behind this winding and winding C is connected to the load. A fault has occurred over here. Due to this fault current will flow in this manner. So this heavy current may cause a difference current, CT error. So two currents may not be equal to each other, means the current which is flowing here and current which is flowing here, that will be different, and that difference coil will flow towards the differential branch. But here we have sufficient retaining coil current. Although difference current is still there, but that would not be greater than the set percentage of retaining coil current. These two retaining coil will block the operation of relay in this situation. But in previous condition, the retaining coil currents were half of the difference coil, because retaining coil current is average of the currents. So here the average of 3 will be sufficiently high as compared to this difference current. So this definitely block the operation of relay. Now we will discuss protection of regulating transformers. So these regulating transformers are used to regulate the flow of real as well as reactive power. So they may regulate the reactive power by changing the turn ratio and real power by changing the phase shift. So the percentage differential relay is not suitable for protection of these transformers, and protection could not be provided with the help of any differential relay, because continuous change in phase angle and turn ratio will make it impossible for differential relay to work for these transformers. So their protection requirements are too specialized, so that the manufacturer of the transformer provides or recommends the protection suitable for regulating transformer. So for internal fault, we use Buchholz relay, and for external fault of such transformer, overcurrent and instantaneous overcurrent relays are used. Next we discuss volts per hertz protection of the power transformers. Transformer cores are normally subjected to flux level approaching to the knee point of their magnetizing characteristics, and we have discussed in detail once we have discussed inrush current during energization, this design methodology of the transformer. When core flux exceed the saturation level, the flux pattern in the core and the surrounding structure changes. It is therefore desirable to provide a protection package which will provide protection against this overfluxing condition of the transformer. Now we have discussed this thing many times, that the flux in the core is function of voltage and frequency. It is proportional to the voltage magnitude and inversely proportional to the operating frequency. So the relaying quantity for such transformer to provide protection against overfluxing is based upon the ratio of per unit voltage to the per unit frequency. That is also known as volt per hertz protection, or V over F protection. This is specifically used for those transformers which are connected to the power plants or generators. So these transformers are known as generator step up transformers, GSU transformers. And similar over excitation condition can occur for those transformers which are connected on the receiving end of long transmission lines in case of load rejection or in lightly loaded condition if voltage regulator is out of service, so that those transformer may also experience voltage beyond their rating, so that may result in overexcitation. So overexcitation protection must be provided over there as well. But remember, for those transformer, this protection will be done just by monitoring the voltage. Frequency will not be a variable of consideration. Now here we will discuss non-electrical protections used for the power transformers. So first one is pressure devices and second one is temperature devices. That will be discussed later. First we discuss these pressure devices. Remember, fault inside an oil-filled transformer tank creates a pressure wave inside the transformer oil. How this pressure wave is created? Because once a fault will occur, that will be in the form of arcing. So arcing will have very high temperature and will result in decomposition of oil. So that decomposed oil will get converted into solid waste as well as gases. Obviously gases occupy more volume than liquid, so that those gases will produce a pressure wave inside transformer tank. So this pressure wave is detected by using either Buchholz relay or sudden pressure relay, SPR. Both these relays have working principle based upon non-electrical phenomena. So let's first discuss the Buchholz relay. Buchholz relay is one of the protective device for electrical transformer for internal fault, and it is very sensitive. So in the presence of Buchholz relays, differential relay will act as backup, and for internal fault, Buchholz relay is considered as the primary protection. So here are the few diagrams of Buchholz relays. So the see-through glass is just to for the visual inspection of the color of gases inside this Buchholz relay, and shortly we are going to discuss the working principle of Buchholz relay in detail. And the arrow that you can see here in front of this Buchholz relay, that is to help for the installation of these Buchholz relay on the top of the transformer tank. Buchholz relay is used in conservator type transformer tank, and here is a transformer tank which has conservator of oil at the top. So here you can see, as the oil volume will reduce here in the tank of the transformer, oil will move from this conservator through this path downward into the transformer tank. In case of a pressure wave created within the transformer due to a fault or decomposition of oil, oil will be pushed from the transformer tank into the conservator through this path. So on this path we had installed the Buchholz relay. This is the Buchholz relay, and this Buchholz relay is installed at an angle with respect to the horizontal axis like this, and normally this angle will be around 15 degrees. It is connected in between pipe from the main tank to the conservator tank, and it is filled with oil throughout transformer operation. So it is used for all power transformer but not economical in case of low rating power transformers. So here is another view of a conservative type transformer tank. At the top you can see here, this is the conservator, this is the main tank of the transformer, and in this diagram we can also locate the Buchholz relay connected here. It is connected on the pipe which is connecting this conservator and the main tank. This is that pipe. So it has been installed on that pipe. So it means when a explosion will take place within the tank of the transformer due to a short circuit fault due to damage of insulation. Then oil decomposition will create a pressure wave. Oil will be pushed into the conservator through this buccal relay, and here buccal relay is to sense that pressure wave created inside the transformer tank. Now here we will discuss working and construction of buccal relay. So this is a schematic diagram that will help us to discuss its working as well as its internal construction. Now here inside this buccal relay we have two floats. This is float number 1 and this is float number 2. These are mounted on a pivot. One pivot point over here, other pivot point over here. So these floats will move upward and downward across this pivot point. And here on the shaft of these floats, a switch is connected. You can see that switch over here. That is a mercury switch. So mercury switch is installed on the shaft of this float as well as on this float. And what is a mercury switch? This is how a mercury switch look like. So it looks like simple casing here where we have mercury which is in molten condition on room temperature, and this switch is position dependent switch. Once this mercury will be in contact with these two terminals, so switch will be in closed condition, and once mercury is away from those contacts, switch is open. Another view of this mercury switch. And this diagram explains the operation of this switch, open and close at different positions. When the position of the switch is like this, mercury is in contact with the two terminals, so it is closed between these two terminals. Circuit is closed. Here circuit is open. In this position, mercury is away from the terminals and switch is open. So what is a mercury switch? Mercury is a position dependent switch which is connected to the shaft of these two floats. Now let's see what is external circuit. Here we have the battery, the same DC batteries which are used to operate the circuit breaker in the system. So these are the batteries. Here with this float, this switch will be used to close the contact through this battery for this alarm, just to inform the operator that something wrong has happened. And here the other switch that is used to close the contact or close the path for the tripping coil of the circuit breaker. So it means once this switch is closed, it will activate an alarm, and once this switch is closed, it will initiate the tripping of the circuit breaker. So circuit breaker will trip. Now this lower float, it also has a flap connected to it. Now we will discuss the problem against which protection is provided with the help of these buccal relays. Buccal relays are used to provide protection against the first problem is leakage of transformer tank. Through that leakage, if oil will spill out of the transformer tank, so this is buccal relay that would sense that problem and first inform, and if not address this problem, it will trip the transformer before the fault occurs within a transformer due to leakage of oil. Second, it would detect minor faults within the transformer. So minor faults will be the damage to the insulation due to overheating, slow damage to the insulation. So those are the minor faults that may result in a turn-to-turn fault in the transformer. A very small amount of arcing current may flow over there between two adjacent turn of transformer. So that type of fault could not be detected with the help of differential relay, but buccal relay can sense that fault. Third is major faults. Major faults includes a short circuit within the transformer tank. So if insulation get breakdown between winding and the tank of the transformer, or between winding and the core, or between two phase winding, so that will result in explosion inside the transformer tank, and that is a major fault. So buccal relay can sense all these three types of fault. So starting from the first, the leakage. In the first slide where I have shown you the diagram of the buccal relay, there was an arrow that shows how to install that buccal relay. Remember, arrow will be like this. The tail side, arrow tail side of buccal relay will be connected to the tank of the transformer, and arrow head will be connected towards the conservator. So during the normal operation, this buccal relay is completely filled oil up to the top point, and these two floats will be in these two positions, the topmost position, and switches will be open. Now if due to leakage oil starts spilling out of the transformer tank, what happens? The oil from the conservator will start moving into the transformer tank. Slowly its level will keep on decreasing here. A point will come where oil will start decreasing, its level will start decreasing inside this relay as well, because oil is moving from this relay back to the transformer. So here from the top there will be an air gap here, and then oil level is further reduced, this float will move downward, further reduce, it will move further downward. So as this float will move downward due to the leakage of oil, initially it will close this switch. As soon as this switch will get closed, it will activate an alarm to inform the operator that something wrong has happened inside the transformer tank. Next, if that problem was not addressed in time, or the spilling of oil was at much higher rate due to damage to the tank of the transformer, then what happens? The level of oil will further decrease, and even the second float will move downward. As soon as that second float will move downward due to reduction in oil level in transformer tank, it will initiate the tripping of the transformer. Because if transformer will remain in service and oil will decrease inside the transformer tank, that will result in an explosion inside the transformer tank due to the loss of insulation, because oil also serves as insulating medium within the transformer. So that's why we have two floats and two tripping mechanism. First alarm will be activated, then tripping will take place. This is how protection is provided with the help of buccal relay in case of leakage of oil through the tank of the transformer. So this has been discussed. Next come to the minor fault. If due to prolonged overloading condition the insulation health deteriorates, what happens? With the passage of time, a small minor fault may occur inside a transformer. That will be a turn-to-turn fault, or just due to increase in temperature of transformer, insulation may start damaging due to high increase in temperature. High temperature will result in damage to the insulation. So that damage to the insulation could be damage to the oil. So it means that will result in slow decomposition of oil. Second, it could be damage to the wood insulation, so that will also decompose the wood, or it could be paper or cloth insulation. Whatever type of insulation that we had used in the transformer, that will start getting decomposed due to high increase in temperature. So due to their decomposition, gases are produced. But remember, there will be no pressure wave because this decomposition is at much slower rate. So these small bubbles of gases will start accumulating at the top of the transformer tank. Let me move back here. So it will start accumulating over here at the top, and then from this pipe which is connecting the top of the transformer tank to the conservator, those bubbles which has been produced due to the slow decomposition of insulation within the transformer will start moving through this buccal relay, and once it will move into the buccal relay, it will not be able to pass onward. Reason? Because as soon as these bubbles will travel here and come into this cavity, bubbles will immediately move at the top of the buccal relay and get entrapped over here. So with the passage of time, these bubbles will keep on accumulating over here inside this buccal relay. And what happens? Due to the accumulation of these bubbles over here, oil will move into the transformer tank and bubbles are accumulating over here. This upper float will move downward and activate an alarm when sufficient amount of those decomposed gases have been accumulated over here. So it means a minor fault has been occurred inside the transformer tank. Now look at this diagram. The see-through glass over here in these buccal relays are used to have a visual inspection of those accumulated gases, because based upon the color of those gases it could be decided that whether this gas has been produced due to decomposition of paper insulation, cloth insulation, oil, or the wood insulation within the transformer tank, because decomposition of these insulation will result in different color gases. So this is the first thing. That's why we use this the see-through glass. Second, it is used to check the level of oil, because once an alarm has been activated, next thing is to address the problem. So when operator will come over there and inspect the level of oil, if level of oil has been reduced, it means oil is spilling out of the transformer tank. So that problem should be addressed immediately. So this is the second purpose of this see-through glass. Next, from this release valve at the top of this buccal relay, valve will be opened and those gases will be collected, and then it will be sent for further chemical analysis to understand what was the actual reason of production of these gases inside the transformer tank. And once gases will be released from there, this relay will get filled with oil again, and then the relay could be reset. This is how minor faults can be detected with the help of buccal relay. Next comes the major fault. In case of explosion inside the transformer tank, a very strong pressure wave will be created by that decomposition of oil, and that will thrust oil from the tank into the conservator through this path of buccal relay. So oil will rush from the tank through this relay into the conservator. On its way from tank to the conservator, it will push this flap downward and result in this float to move downward. This is the purpose of this flap, that is in the path of flow of that oil. High pressure oil when move from tank to the conservator, on its way here, it will push this flow downward and result in tripping of the circuit breaker. So much before our differential relay will sense this fault, the buccal relay can sense internal fault, because as soon as pressure wave has been created over there, this buccal relay would immediately respond and trip the circuit breaker. So this is how major faults are detected with the help of buccal relay. Now question is, why we install this relay at an angle of 15 degree? Just to provide an easy path for these small bubbles to travel through this pipe into the relay. If it is horizontal, possibility is there these bubbles may get entrapped in this pipe at the top of this pipe. Just to provide an ease to move through this pipe, it is installed an inclined angle of 15 degree instead of having complete horizontal installation. Next device that we are going to discuss is sudden pressure relay, that is alternative of buccal relay. So in tank type construction of transformer that does not have a conservator at the top, and it has a cushion of gas, inert gas, normally nitrogen or some ideal gas is filled at the top of the aisle. So here is a tank type transformer which does not have a conservator at the top. Another view of tank type transformer without conservator. So in such transformer tank design, the use of buccal relay is not possible. For alternate for buccal relay is sudden pressure relay, SPR. So this sudden pressure relay is installed either on the side of the transformer tank where we have air cushion above the eye level, or at the top of the transformer tank. This is how sudden pressure relay has been installed on the transformer side. Few more diagrams for sudden pressure relay. Now we are going to discuss its working. The mechanical sensor in the sudden pressure relay consists of a bellow and a pressure equalizer, which together is insensitive to slow changes of pressure, for example those caused by the thermal overloading or load changing, and it is highly sensitive to the pressure created due to the fault condition. Now here I will explain the working of sudden pressure relay with very simple example. Let's say this is the transformer tank which is filled up to this level with oil, and definitely winding will be merged into this oil. Here we have an air cushion above this oil level. So that will be nitrogen, high pressure nitrogen gas, or some ideal gas, or some gas which can provide good insulation as well. So here, this is a point where we have installed SPR relay. SPR could be installed over here at the side or at the top of the transformer tank over here. This could be the SPR. Now I'm going to show you a zoomed version of this SPR relay. This is certain pressure relay. In this diagram you can see a trip coil is connected through this battery to these two contacts, and here we have a metal. Once this metal will be in contact with these two terminal, so it will make a complete path for the flow of current to this trip coil and tripping of circuit breaker will occur. So this is the tank of the transformer over here, and this has been installed over the oil level. So it means the gas above here is directly exposed to these bellows. So here is the bellow, the main functional part of this certain pressure relay. When pressure will increase here on the top of this oil in air cushion due to an explosion inside the transformer tank, that high pressure air will move into this bellow and push this bellow outward. So this metallic part will be in contact with these two terminals closing the switch. So this bellow is something which is expandable due to the pressure. Other thing, the equalizer. This equalizer is this small hole over the top. So this is a small hole through which gas can also pass on the other side of this bellow to equalize the pressure. In case of minor changes in pressure inside the transformer tank, so this equalizer will be able to equalize pressure on both sides of this bellow. So bellow will not be able to expand in those conditions. But in case of sudden increase in pressure, the gas would not be able to move on the other side of the bellow through this small hole equalizer. And what happens? A high pressure will be created inside this bellow, which will result in expansion of this bellow and immediate tripping of the circuit breaker. So this equalizer plus this bellow, this combination will make it insensitive for small changes in pressure. In case of a short circuit within the transformer tank, a high pressure wave will be created that could be easily detected. It is highly sensitive to that major change in pressure inside the transformer tank. So this was the simplest way to explain a sudden pressure relay, but its construction is much complex. Mechanical sensor consists of bellows and pressure equalizer. This is bellows over here. This is bellows, and this small hole which will be used to equalize the pressure on two sides of this bellow is equalizer, which together is insensitive to slow changes in pressure and very sensitive to abrupt change in pressure. However, a pressure wave created by a fault is detected by the relay and can be used to trip the alarm or trip the circuit breaker. So this is a more complicated working diagram of a SPR sudden pressure relay. It should be noted that these pressure type relays, whether it is Buchholz relay or SPR sudden pressure relay, it can only detect fault that will occur within the transformer tank. Faults on the bushing or connecting leads do not create an arc within the transformer tank. So for the detection of those faults, we will have to use differential relay. So differential relay along with the Buchholz relay or sudden pressure relay will provide complete primary protection to the transformer. Fault that will occur within the transformer tank would be detected by the Buchholz relay, and fault are occurring on the bushing of the transformer or just outside transformer will be covered by the differential relay. At the end of the lecture, now we will discuss the temperature devices. Temperature detecting devices are used for indication to show the temperature of working temperature of the transformer, recording or control. So recording one to note down the behavior of temperature, and control mean based upon the temperature some corrective measure if required that will be taken. And in rare occasion these temperature devices their reading or monitoring is done for tripping purpose. Some devices simply measure the oil temperature, usually to the top oil, because as the temperature of oil will increase, the heated oil will move at the top of the transformer tank. So temperature reading is taken over there. Many research paper has been presented to find out the hot spot within the transformer tank where the oil temperature will be highest. Other devices uses a combination of the oil temperature as well as current that the transformer is carrying to have the complete detail of the reason why the temperature is rising, whether it is due to the ambient condition or it is due to the increase in load. It is quite possible that if the cooling mechanism of transformer is not working, due to that reason temperature may rise but current is not greater than the rated value. So that is a clear indication that something has happened to the cooling mechanism of transformer. But if the current is higher than the rating, or you can say much higher than the rating, and temperature is high, that is clear indication of overloading of transformer. So that's why temperature plus the current reading, that will give us a better picture of problem as compared to just monitoring the temperature. So the temperature devices actuate alarm to the central dispatching office to alert the operator, who can either remotely unload the transformer or send some operator to take the necessary action at the transformer installation point. If it is not possible either to unload the transformer remotely or to dispatch someone to take the corrective measure, then tripping may occur. Tripping can be done from the remote central dispatching office. So that is the end of the lecture.